Welcome to SAT TV News. Thanks for joining us. I am Alicia George. In our top stories, Senator Danny Luge suspended from Parliament. Find out the UWP's reaction. Renowned GIS broadcast journalist now heads the media team at SAT Telecoms. From the region, former Curaçao Finance Minister arrested in connection with murder of political leader. And internationally, Air Algeria plane found with no survivors. In sports, 60 to represent Dominica at Windward Island School Games. Details of these will follow. Welcome back. A motion by members of the Dominica Labour Party, DLP, has resulted in the suspension of Senator Danny Luge from further parliamentary proceedings. The motion tabled comes weeks after Senator Luge stated that some people deserve to die during the United Workers' Party's public meeting in Soufriere. Luge was arrested and charged last Thursday for incitement to murder attorney Alec Lawrence. Subsequently to making the statement, however, the senator apologized to the public and the House. Minister for Legal Affairs Honorable Ian Douglas tabled the motion during the budget debate on Thursday.
And I sincerely hope that members of this House will be bipartisan in our approach and really speak out on this matter and let Dominicans hear where we stand on despicable actions of a member of this House.
According to Honorable Douglas, the public as well as members of the House of Assembly have expectations for the conduct of members of Parliament, and it is important for the House to regulate the behavior of its members.
And we cannot allow, Madam Speaker, members to go about displaying despicable acts, both in their utterances and in their actions, with impunity. There must be a way, there must be a mechanism for checks and balances for members of this honorable House to be exemplary in their behavior and in their utterances.
Minister Douglas claimed that the recent statement is a prime example where a member of the House must be censured for his utterances.
I don't think that the history would record us favorably. I don't think that the electorate and the people of Dominica, Madam Speaker, would forgive us if we allow this behavior to go unchecked.
Following the court ruling, Senator Luge was granted $8,000 bail and was requested to return to court for trial in November of this year. As a result of his appearance before the court on a criminal charge, Minister Douglas claimed that Senator Luge was severely tainted and therefore is not a fit and proper person to sit in the House and speak on any matter of public interest, especially the budget debate. Following the ruling, Senator Luge and other members of the opposition walked out of Parliament. Members of the opposition United Workers' Party, UWP, is calling the suspension of Senator Danny Luge from the House of Assembly on Thursday a move of hypocrisy. The motion was tabled by Legal Affairs Minister Honorable Ian Douglas and seconded by Agriculture Minister Honorable Matthew Walter. However, leader of the opposition United Workers' Party, Honorable Hector John, says they will stand in solidarity with their colleague, Senator Danny Luge.
Mr. Luge was brought before the court. He was bailed for $8,000 with absolutely no conditions. So Mr. Luge, the court didn't see Mr. Luge as a threat. Nobody saw Mr. Luge as a threat. You saw him as a citizen of Dominica. Why then members of Parliament use Parliament with the support of Alex Boyd Knight to keep Mr. Luge from making his contribution in Parliament? The same Speaker of the House, when we're in Parliament, that reminds us to not speak on matters that are before the court. She do that regularly, remind us to not speak on matters before the court. And we saw it as a deliberate attempt to try to derail the opposition, to keep Mr. Luge out. On the patterns of Parliament being called, the next Parliament maybe expect somewhere in October, November. If we see any Parliament is being called before that, it's just part of the plan by the government to try to see if they can derail the momentum of Mr. Luge in the Rosenhof constituency.
Honorable Hector John stated that Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit was brought before the court in his dual citizenship case, which went on for 3 years. However, he did not see it fit to let someone else run the country till his court matter came to a close. The opposition leader also stated Honorable Ambrose George was fired 3 times from the government and he is still a member of Parliament, So the government ministers placing this much attention on Senator Luge is hypocrisy. Meanwhile, member of the UWP Edison James says the more the Dominica Labour Party tends to crucify Senator Luge, the more they will only make him stronger.
I heard the Attorney General talk about 2 wrongs don't make a right. Which other wrong was he talking about? He obviously was talking about Lennox Lawrence's outburst about Al-Qaeda and the need to seek us out in Marigot and Lapin and whatever and do what, and Salisbury, and do what President Obama has been doing to Al-Qaeda. What has President Obama been doing to Al-Qaeda? He's been killing them. He's been killing them. But I heard the Attorney General telling us 2 wrongs don't make a right. Well, Mr. Attorney General, if that wrong was dealt with in the particular way it was dealt with no apology, then this wrong had to be dealt with in the same way.
James added the DLP government is simply threatened by the UWP and is using its power to derail their efforts, which will not be successful. Meanwhile, Senator Danny Luge, who was surprised by his suspension, holds the view that government is trying to crucify him for a matter in which he has apologized for publicly.
Why I was surprised? We've heard Madam Speaker cautioning us several times that any time that a matter is before the courts, that we should not speak on it. Yet yesterday, we had so many members on the government side speaking on the matter. What I'd like to say is that what it seems that the Speaker is doing is she's entertaining and facilitating a bloodthirsty Labour Party government to crucify me. But what I would like to say to Rosanoff is that I really do appreciate your support. You've stood behind me 100%. I'm getting calls 11:30 night, waking me up from my bed, of young people who were not too sure what they wanted to do, telling me that they would like to register. So it is clear that the support in Rosanoff is overwhelming.
The members of the UWP, in its unwavering support for Senator Luge, made a decision to stay away from this current sitting of Parliament. An interministerial initiative to award 4 needy families each in 4 districts across Dominica with housing renovations concluded with a graduation ceremony on Friday. In October 2013, the Ministries of Culture, Youth and Sports, Land, Housing, Settlement and Water Resource Management, and Employment, Trade, Industry and Diaspora Affairs collaborated to help these families obtain much-needed housing. Bernard Bontif, who gave the project report during the graduation ceremony, said when he learned of the housing renovation program, he was overjoyed by the idea.
I remember when the letter was received from the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Leighton, I almost jumped for joy from my seat because I was elated by the idea, really elated. I saw 2 things going to happen: poor people going to get assistance, and most importantly, our young people are going to get training.
The ministries, through the Youth Skills Training and National Employment Programs, provided training in construction skills to 47 young men from the North, South, Southeastern and Roseau districts. Materials and money for the construction projects were also provided. Bontif said he is happy that these young men can now join construction skilled personnel in Dominica.
A few of those had already possessed more than basic skills upon entering the program, while the majority received the skills for the first time. We are elated, ladies and gentlemen, to know that 47 young men will now join the ranks of construction skilled personnel in Dominica, and they will be better able to provide for themselves and their families. So I want to urge those of you who are not trainees, but are on the other side of the fence in terms of people who would like their jobs to be done later on, if they knock at your door seeking a job, please come to their assistance.
Meanwhile, Honorable Reginald Austrie, Minister for Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management, reminded the participants that this certification does not fully qualify them for the field, and so urged the young men to continue their training.
Your graduation here today does not qualify you to be a mason or a carpenter or a plumber. It has only equipped you with basic skills that when you go out there to the workplace, you don't start off like a lab ware with the pickaxe digging the foundation. But you can say to your employer, I did a 6-month training program, I have a certificate trying to start at a higher level. And it means, therefore, that going forward, your training has to continue. You're not there yet.
The minister further advised the young men to treat themselves to a lifetime skill that would allow them to be independent. Effective Saturday, July 26, Bertilia McKenzie will begin her stint as interim general manager of the country's sole electricity provider, Domlec. She will fill the position left vacant by the resignation of former general manager of Domlec, Colin Cover, in May of this year, who left to take up a new position as general manager of the Grenada Electricity Services, Greenlec. McKenzie, who has been employed at the company for 16 years, currently holds the position of Human Resource and Administration Manager. However, noted she was asked by the Board of Directors to fill the new position for a duration of 3 to 5 months.
The recruitment and selection process is complete, and Domlec has a full manager in place, not an interim manager. So I'm there to hold on until Domlec gets a general manager in place of Mr. Cover. Our recruitment and selection process is at the level of general manager and senior manager, and even grade 3, which is the middle managers. We have the policy where we put out ads, and persons from within and from outside are free to apply. Based on that, we look at all of the applications, we shortlist, and we interview and we select the person who best meets the needs of Domlec in terms of competencies, in terms of skills, in terms of attitude, and in terms of leadership capability.
She revealed she did not submit an application for the general manager position, however has a wealth of experience in all aspects of the business, which she will use to her advantage. When asked if appointed to the position of general manager, she said it would mean her working at her optimum to excel in that position. According to McKenzie, although the role will present its challenges, she will not be deterred, as she knows she can count on the hard work of her capable team of senior managers and staff.
I've spoken to my employees already one-on-one and in various groupings. What I know is that they will give me their full, unswerving support in my new role, although it's for a short period of time, as interim GM of Domlec.
The selection and recruitment process is being carried out in Canada by the board of directors of the company, and once they have selected a successful applicant, the information will be passed on to their Dominican counterparts at the media. We now go to the People's Poll, brought to you by Beacon. When we return, more stories. Welcome back. For the past 17 years, she has represented the Government Information Service, GIS, with distinction and class. But now, former journalist Tanya Green has taken on a new challenge. On Monday, Green officially began her stint as media production manager at SAT Telecommunications, bringing with her a wealth of expertise. In an exclusive interview with SAT TV, Green noted she feels honored and privileged to serve in this new capacity.
I am dedicated to improving every aspect of the service here at SAT, and SAT has recognized that, and the opportunity is now here for me to focus on bringing better quality to SAT. As you know, I have worked at the GIS for 17 years, and my experience working at the Government Information Service has been very rewarding, as I was able to learn a lot. I was able to develop my skills in media and communications, but most importantly, I was able to share my experiences with a number of budding journalists in Dominica.
Green said she now looks forward to sharing her wealth of knowledge and experiences with the staff of SAT, noting her focus is to enhance the skill set of the current staff.
I should add that another important focus will be to significantly enhance the local content of SAT TV. So far, things have been encouraging and exciting. My welcome to the team has been heartwarming. The team has been very excited to have me on board, and they have embraced me with open arms, and I'm very excited.
The new media manager seems quite enthusiastic about working with the employees and feels that they are very receptive to her new ideas, having taken the time to familiarize herself with the operations of the media department. Green began her career as a local media personality and journalist, and more recently served as second-in-command at the GIS, where she was able to establish herself as one of the most respected and admired public news journalists and news anchors in Dominica, reporting on several major stories of national importance. In 2005, she was named the Best Television News Presenter at the DBS Radio Flamboyant Awards. In that same year, she traveled to Cuba, where she produced a 40-minute television documentary on the Miracle Eye Care program, an initiative of Presidents Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro. In an effort to rekindle the interest in agricultural cultivation on the island, President His Excellency Charles Sabre has tasked the students of the National 4-H with a Pigeon Peace project. National 4-H Coordinator Shirley Alexander said this project is hosted in collaboration with the President's office.
Even this year, Mr. Charles Sabre, our new president, he told us he would like us to do something more, and he came up with the idea of a Pigeon Peace project, because he says it's like, you know, people feel things, it's like everything is growing on the supermarket shelves. People don't want to plant enough. Something like Pigeon Peas that has, you know, so many health benefits, and it's so easy to grow. You don't see much of that like you used to before. You know, everybody had Pigeon Peas all over. You know, children, parents would pick Pigeon Peas, shell them, and have that, you know, ready, natural, you know, straight from the yard.
She said funding for the project was sourced from the Agricultural Investment Development Aid Bank, which will be used by 4-H clubs towards their pigeon peas cultivation projects.
We noticed too, a lot of them have space, enough space around the schoolyard for something like that that doesn't need much care. So we are going to be planting pigeon peas, you know, shelling and eating more of it.
The participating clubs will come from the Goodwill Secondary, the Dominica Grammar School, the Isaiah Thomas Secondary, the Portsmouth, the Northeast Comprehensive, and the Catapru Secondary Schools. Alexander noted most of these schools have areas adequate for the cultivation of pigeon peas, so location is not a problem. She added that the peas, when harvested, will be used at the school's feeding program or for personal use by the students. The intention is to use pigeon peas as the main ingredient for the 4-H's 2015 dinner plate competition. 4 students are now fully equipped for high school for the academic year 2014-2015, beginning in September, as on Friday, July 25th, they were awarded scholarships from the sole electricity provider on the island, Domlec. They are Shemaya Dover John, who will be attending the Convent High School, Nia Bell, who will be attending the Casabru Secondary, Shanique Chauffet, who will attend the Convent High School, and Jariah Polidor, who will attend the Casabru Secondary School. Human Resource Manager of Domlec, Batilia McKenzie, explained the scholarship provides all textbooks, stationery, and transportation allowance and CXT examination fees where applicable.
Additionally, we seek to play an integral role in the lives of our scholarship recipients, and generally from third form, we provide the opportunity for them to come to work with us as students on attachments. We also, during the course of the semester, we engage the parents to see how the students are doing, and at the end of every semester, they're supposed to bring to us their report books. And based on that, then we further engage them to see how we can affect positively their performance in the school environment.
McKenzie said with the new recipients, Domlec currently has 21 students in various high schools with full scholarships for the upcoming school year. She explained that Domlec developed a relationship with their scholarship recipients and remained in contact with the students throughout their studies.
When they graduate from high school, they invite Domlec to their graduation. That's the kind of relationship that we have with them. Thereafter, some of them come on summer attachments, and some have even been employed on a permanent basis with Domlec. And they just maintain that link with us. Even if they're not with us, they maintain that link with Domlec. And so it's a program that we will continue. It's a program that we will endeavor to better the quantum of assistance that we are giving to the students, but we will look at that and decide how this is going to play out.
McKenzie advised the students to always demonstrate competence and a strong work ethic during their time in high school and to put God first in all that they do. The students were also urged to remain focused on their goals and guidance of their parents in order to become productive members of society. 2 of the scholarships were presented to students of Domlec staff and 2 to 2 members of the public who did not receive government scholarships or bursaries. The Domlec scholarships have been awarded on an annual basis since 1986. On Friday, a heritage exhibition was organized at the Lubia Primary School as part of a planned activity for Lubia Reunion 2014. The reunion began on Thursday with an ecumenical service and opening ceremony at the Lubia Resource Center. Rosamond Lebrun, Deputy Chairperson of the Lubia Reunion Committee, said the exhibition included contributions from residents of that community.
We have a good display of many of our items we received from villagers and persons outside of Lubia. And then we are very happy because as far as I see, we have a good and an ancient exhibition.
The purpose of the exhibition was to showcase artifacts from past generations to entice Dominicans visiting. Lebrun revealed that all of the pieces on display were locally crafted.
All of them, every bit of them, locally made and from local people. Some of them I had myself, like from my grannies and my aunts.
Lebrun called on the diaspora and persons originally from Lubia who live elsewhere in Dominica to come out and support the reunion activities. The exhibition will run for 3 days from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. until Saturday and from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.